This. My name is Thor Schrock. I'm the owner of the Schrock Innovations Computer Company with service centers in Lincoln, Omaha, and Papillion, where we fix computers, we rescue data from failed hard drives, we build websites, I don't know what the deal is. Like, all of a sudden, we've had a couple government jobs, like, not really jobs. I don't want to call them government jobs, but like local city administrative software development proposals, let's say, that we've been giving lately. So it's been nice to have that those opportunities in the service centers. If you need something built for your business from a software perspective, the guys at Schrock Interactive can do it for you. It's pretty amazing the stuff that they can accomplish. So when we're not doing that over at the shop, we do fix computers. If they break, we kind of fix them. We build new computers, modular desktops, laptops, Schrock modular tablets, the whole Anchorito. Now, the number today, if you need some help with your technology, it doesn't have to be computers, could be cell phone, could be, how do you get your Xbox to connect to the Wi-Fi, whatever's troubling you this Sunday morning, or, whatever's troubling you on Saturday morning. I don't mind. 866-496-8772. Those are the numbers to join us on the program today. If you call in to ask a question or make a comment, we'll put you in the drawing for a $25 Schrock Innovations gift certificate, good for anything your heart desires over at the service centers. Want to welcome all the viewers on Facebook at facebook.com/Schrock Innovations. You can watch the show there. I don't know. You could just listen to it or you could watch it, I suppose. It doesn't matter. I'm wearing my Compute This t-shirt today. Yeah. So thank you, lovely Kimberly, for my awesome T-shirts. Love those. She designs them all. She's really talented with this stuff. But anyway, you can check out the video stream there at facebook.com/Schrock Innovations. I've had some people lately say, Thor, what are we supposed to do if we're not on Facebook? And I'm like, well, you don't have to be on Facebook. You don't have to have a Facebook account to watch the show. Our Facebook page is wide open. You can just go to facebook.com and watch the show. You don't have to post your life story on there to watch the show if you don't want to. Also, after the show is done, we do post the video on our website at SchrockInnovations.com. We have to process that. Monday, Tuesday, you see that video pop up over there. So if you want to watch it right now, it's live. If you want to watch it a little bit later, you can on Facebook. If you want to watch it like next week, you can watch it on the website. 866-496-8772. Got a fun show for you guys today. All right, so first of all, happy news. Equifax says more private data was stolen in their 2017 breach than was first revealed. Gotta love it. The credit rating agency said it didn't originally announce potential data points like tax ID numbers that may have been accessed by hackers. So a tax ID number is a social security number. We didn't really tell you about that. I'm sure it was just an Easter egg for law enforcement. So, they would be able to know. Like, if somebody started talking about tax ID numbers, they know that's the Equifax breach. I'm sure that's what it was. So we're going to tell you all about that one coming up on the program today. Spectre reboot problems. Intel has a new patch to fix their Spectre reboot issue. So basically, let's see, offers patching tips, which it failed to brief on the bugs, blah, blah, blah. We'll go over that. It's super exciting stuff. Basically, if you have an Intel computer, there was a patch, you downloaded it. It made your computer secure from the Spectre and Meltdown vulnerabilities. It also introduced, some undesirable side effects. This is like one of those drug commercials on TV, like, do you suffer from mild to moderate Crohn's disease? Or mild to moderate, like, what's intense Crohn's disease? I wouldn't want to see that. I've known a couple people that have that. It's not fun. But, mild to moderate. You either have it or you don't. Okay? Or like, do you feel sad? Depression is a treatable disease, and take these wonderful pills. Side effects may include drowsiness, vomiting, diarrhea, brain hemorrhaging. And they give you this long list of stuff that, oh my gosh, why would I do that to myself? Well, it's kind of the same thing. Patch your computer to make it secure. Side effects might include data corruption, random restarts. On your server, the thing that people use to log into. It's no big deal if you lose their user accounts or, just reboot randomly throughout the day when people go to your website, they can't get there. Not a problem at all. I'm sure Schrock Interactive, there's a reason that Schrock Interactive didn't patch our server against this. Random reboots are bad. They are bad. Also, the internet security company that you love to hate, those Russian buggers, are back at it again at Kaspersky. Oh, my goodness. Kaspersky Lab. And here's the thing. This is the thing. You'll love to hate them because they're Russian, right? And you can't trust them because the Russian government has laws on the books that if Kaspersky Labs has information on a foreign target, basically, another government or citizens in a government or something like that, they must turn over those security details to the Russian state services. So basically, if you're running Kaspersky on your computer and you are like, the Secretary of State or something, that would be bad because Kaspersky would be forced to turn over access details to the Secretary of State's computer to the Russian government, which is why the U.S. government has forbidden Kaspersky antivirus to be run at any U.S.-funded institution or installation. You can't run them anymore. Well, on the other hand, once they get a little upstarty, right? Then Kaspersky comes around and they say, hey, look at this malware in Iran that's causing these centrifuges to spin out of control. Here's how you can remove that. And, Israel and the United States, gee, thanks, Kaspersky Labs. We are so glad now that Iran is able to get those centrifuges spinning reliably. Woo! Yeah, happy day. Anybody want some yellow cake? Yeah, delicious. Well, then they turn around and they do something nice for everybody. I mean, this is like a classic. What do they call those relationships where like the person's like super nice and then all of a sudden they're like, and I hate you. I'm going to stab your eyes out. And then they're like, do you need more soup? I don't know what that's called, but I'm sure somebody with a psychology background will call in and tell me what that's called. But then they do something nice. Crackle ransomware victims have a new decryptor now. All right, so we've talked in the past on the show about ransomware. We've talked about the need to secure your computer against ransomware. It was one of the big threats last year, the year before, in the last 3 or 4 years, actually. But last year, you remember the stories we did about the do-it-yourself kit for ransomware? Basically, the guys who make the ransomware weren't able to infect enough people to make enough money to make it worth their while. So what they did is they created a DIY kit that all you had to do was infect people's computers. You had to find a way to get it on the target's computer, but then the ransomware would do the rest of the work, and they'd split the profits with you. Yeah, it was a pretty sweet deal for all those script kiddies out there who couldn't write their own virus but had a way to infect thousands of computers or a way to get it on a work network or something like that. So basically, this ransomware has been spreading all around the place. We really hit it hard last year. Secure Updater was absolutely integral in keeping ransomware off your computer. It, oh my gosh, because outdated Flash, outdated Java, all these things, these programs we have on our computers, if you don't keep them up to date, they don't come out with updates for their health. They come out with updates because there's a vulnerability and they're patching it, and you need the patch. But of course, I'm not trying to make people sound like they're lazy here, but you have an average of 12 to 14 patches a week that you actually have to do on your computer. These are not patches that will automatically do themselves. You have to do them. And if you don't do them, they just remain unpatched, and the vulnerability sits there until someone exploits it. That's how these guys got their stuff on people's computers. So our customers, the Secure Updater customers, actually had a much lower infection rate with this stuff, because Secure Updater, as soon as one of these updates comes out, Secure Updater is installing it on their computers, or on your computers, I should say. So the people using Secure Updater don't have to worry about this as much as they used to. But this is the kind of stuff that would happen to everybody else. This is what gets people into the service center, where the point where we're trying to help them out, and then we lock them down and secure them for the future as they leave. Well, Kaspersky goes and does something nice, like making a decryption utility that will, basically, if you had the Crackle malware, you had a couple days, usually it's 48 hours, to pay a certain amount of Bitcoin to unlock your files. And so when you're required to pay that amount of Bitcoin to unlock your files, some people just said, no, I'm not going to spend $400. I'm not going to, we're not going to negotiate with terrorists. Some people actually said that. They're really, for real, people give, I'm not going to negotiate with these terrorists. Like you're a foreign government. Do you want your kids' baby pictures back or not? I mean, that's kind of what we're talking about here. There's not going to be any major, you're deciding whether or not to do this is not going to influence their future moral decisions. They're still going to do this. But basically, for those of you who held your high ground and said, no, we're not going to give them the money, but you kept, I told you at the time, hang on to your hard drive. Do not get rid of it. Yes, I know it's silly. You want us to you want us to get your computer working, and I'm telling you we have to sell you a new hard drive. And you have a perfectly good hard drive here, but it's got all your stuff on it. And yes, I know it's all encrypted and you can't get to any of it, but That could change in the future. So buy a new hard drive, put the new hard drive in your computer, and let us set up Windows and everything and get it rolling. And you just put this in, I'll put it in a bag. I'll put it in a static bag for you, and then I'll put it in a box with those little air pillows, to keep it nice and safe, because the day will come when this is going to happen. Crackle Fantomas victims rescued by new decryptor. The No More Ransom project. This is Kaspersky Labs website. This is on the Kaspersky Labs website. So perhaps it was written in Russian and translated. I am going to read it word for word, so please do not mistake my language for an inability to read. The No More Ransom project for assisting victims of ransomware has good news to report. The Belgian police, in cooperation with Kaspersky Lab, managed to obtain keys for recovering files encrypted with new versions of Crackle ransomware known as Fantomas. So there was an old version of Crackle, and now there was a newer version. The old version, they found a way to unlock it, so the bad guys came out with a new version that couldn't be unlocked. Well, the Belgian police were involved. My guess is they pinched somebody, and they got a decryption key. The updated decryption tool is already available on the project's website. All right, so basically this tool will allow you, if you have a drive that was encrypted by the Crackle or Fantomas malware, you can go to the No More Ransom project and download a decryption tool that will give you your files back, and it's free. Courtesy of the Russian-made Kaspersky Lab. 866-496-8772. I don't know what that's called. Where they do, like, Iran. Man, it would have been nice if you could have just let that go a little longer. And then they do something nice, It's like, oh, in actuality, the thing is, it's to the point now. All this Russia stuff. Yes, they are. Russia is a geopolitical foe of the United States, and this isn't a political show, so I'm not going to get deep into the politics and everything. But they're not our friends, okay? They're not supposed to be our friends. They're supposed to look out for Russia, and we're supposed to look out for America. And the interests don't always line up. So there's going to be, we're at times, we're going to be at loggerheads or F-16er heads, or Syria heads. It's going to happen. Kaspersky Lab makes really good antivirus software. They genuinely do. Way back in the day when Norton 360 was around, oh my gosh, I had a guy come into the shop today and said he bought Norton antivirus at Walmart. And I was like, when? And he goes, last week. I was like, they haven't made this since 2015. How did you get? Did it have a box in the back room? How did you? Was it in one of those like dollar bins, like you dig through, like, oh look, a new game that was made for Windows XP. Wonder if it'll work on Windows 10. It won't. Oh, $1? Why? I'll try for $1. What the heck? So anyway. So Kaspersky, when Norton 360 went bye-bye with no notice, I might add, we had to find a new software to recommend. We already had Secure Updater to secure your computer. By the way, if you have no idea what Secure Updater is, if this is the first you're hearing of it, you can learn all about it at secureupdater.com. It's secureupdater.com. You can get a free 15-day trial for your computer. I encourage you to take a look at it. Seriously, you have no idea how behind your computer is until you install that and get it current and up to date. It's amazing. So you can do that. But, we needed to recommend antivirus as well, and we recommended Norton 360. It was great. People didn't get infected if they were running it. It worked really well. Well, then they just stopped making it all of a sudden. They came out with this new thing called Norton Security Scan, which still was pretty good antivirus, but it asks so many questions. Literally, it gave you so many opportunities to make mistakes. And, we're all humans. Even me, I will go through and we all click. Oh, I didn't mean to delete that email, or go through that. Or I was just reading a story the other day. They about online dating and millennials and stuff, and how if you get an account at what's the swipe left thing? Tinder. Thank you. See, my wife will be very happy that I don't know the name. But basically, it shows you pictures of men and women, and you depending on what you put in. And if you swipe left, that means no, I'm not interested. And if you swipe right, that means yes, that person is attractive, I'm interested. And if that person sees your picture and swipes the same, maybe you guys get together, right? You have a date. It's how the youngins get together, apparently. So there's a problem, though. See, if you have Tinder's free. So if you have the basic Tinder account, apparently you can swipe left all day long. Whoa, 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 whoa. Oh, but what happens when you accidentally swipe left on that hottie you didn't mean to swipe left on? You want to go back and change your swipe? Oh, you need the pro version. You got to pay for that. Oh, golly. You know, the first world problems, let me tell you. So Kaspersky, when we were looking at new antivirus to recommend, you know, we ended up going with Symantec Endpoint because it was made in America and it used a very similar engine to Norton 360. It didn't ask a lot of questions. It didn't give you a lot of opportunities to swipe left when you didn't mean to swipe left. It just worked. Kaspersky, on the other hand, was very similar. It's a Russian-made, obviously. However, with that said, it tends to be buggy on installation. Your computer must be absolutely perfect to install Kaspersky. And very rarely is an infected computer or a computer recovering from an infection at the time of installation absolutely perfect. So we decided to go with Symantec Endpoint. Then something was guiding our choices, because if we would have gone with Kaspersky, 5 or 6 years ago, think about what I would have to be doing, the backflips I would have to be doing on the radio right now. Yeah, listen, I know Kaspersky helps Iran, okay? Yeah, they're trying to go nuclear. They're sharing it with North Korea, who says they're going to nuke us. But your antivirus has nothing to do with that, okay? Okay, yes, I know if you have an account at Kaspersky and the Russians are interested in you, they can compel Kaspersky to give them all your information. But come on. What do you have to hide? It's the Russians. They don't care about you. I don't even know you exist. Come on. Oh my goodness. Have you seen the movie? Have you heard the ads for the Sparrow? I mean, seriously, it's coming. 866-496-8772. Got to take our first break of the show. No calls yet. So when you guys hear me talking and talking and talking, that's because I don't have any calls yet. 866-496-8772. If you have a question or a comment, you want to ask it on the program, we'll put you in the drawing for a $25 gift certificate. Also, there is no such thing as a silly question. I know a lot of you out there right now are thinking, I wonder, but no, I don't want to be the person that asked that question. There is no such thing as a silly question. I can guarantee if you have it, that there are dozens of people listening that have the same question. Let's help them out. Give us a call, 866-496-8772. More of Compute This coming up next after the break.
Today's fragile computers need maintenance more than ever. Your computer needs a maintenance checkup every 6 months to last beyond its 18-month expected lifespan. Some people like desktops for their power and upgradability, but nothing rivals a laptop for computing on the go. But why should you have to sacrifice performance for portability? The innovators at Schrock want our customers to have it all, so we created a new kind of laptop, the solid-state laptop from Schrock Innovations. Solid-state laptops are built using the same frame and mainboards as regular laptops, but we've removed half of the moving parts while more than doubling the computer's speed. The result? Laptops that boot to Windows in 6 seconds or less, respond instantly to your commands, and can survive drops that put most laptops into the data recovery lab. Starting at only $499, solid-state laptops give you speed, reliability, durability, and performance for the same price most people pay for a cheap disposable laptop. The next time you're looking for a laptop, check out the solid-state laptops at SchrockInnovations.com or visit any of our service centers. Simple, solid, fast technology is what we do at Schrock. And now Compute This pro tip number 373. Everyone knows we're supposed to back up our computers and then check those backups periodically to make sure they're working. So why don't most people do it? Lots of people have different ideas about what backing up means. Is it copying files to a flash drive? Is it using a fancy backup program? And how do you know it's working anyway? Windows makes backups easy through free software that's already on your computer. Open your control panels and click Update and Security. Select Backup and choose from all of the available options to get a regular, reliable checkup. You'll need something to back up to, like a Schrock modular storage device or some other backup hard drive. Backups usually run once a week, but you can always change the frequency. The best part is that if your backup ever fails, you'll see a notification in the lower right corner by your clock telling you something's up. Backing up your important data has never been easier. So take a moment to back up your computer today. This pro tip brought to you by Schrock Innovations Computer Company.
Alrighty, guys, welcome back into Compute This. My name is Thor Schrock. I'm the owner of the Schrock Innovations Computer Company with 3 locations. Now, for those of you who aren't aware, we did move our Papillion location. We still have some customers that are kind of wandering in. Like, it's kind of funny. It's good to be loved. when your customer calls you and they're like, "Oh my gosh, where are you? We're trying to find your Papillion location, but it looks like you're out of business. Did you guys go out of business?" No, we just moved. And they're like, "Oh, thank God. We thought you went out of business. Oh my goodness." It makes you feel good, because you're like, wow, that we're that loved, It's awesome. It's not because they had like a gift certificate or anything. Oh no, we thought we weren't going to get to use our gift certificate, but no. So the new Papillion Service Center is located off 84th and Highway 370. We moved about a block down the road. I will not make disparaging comments about locations and things like that. I will say our old location was kind of a bear to get into. The one on 72nd, because you could only turn in from one side of the street, and then they put the new gas station in there, and that made it more complex and just kind of a nightmare. The new location is much easier to get in and out of. You can get in and out of it very easily off of 84th Street. We're right behind Kohl's Pharmacy, if you know where that is in Papillion. So it's super easy to get to. The other thing is, without a doubt, every customer who's come in has said, "This place is much nicer than your old place." And I'm like, I didn't realize we were working in such a dive before, but apparently this place is a lot nicer than our old place. So the reviews are good, and people are liking the service center. It's been very busy. One of the things, we kind of got used to Papillion being really slow. In fact, a couple times on the show, I said it's one of the, if you want a quick turnaround, go to Papillion, because they don't have a ton of work there compared to the Omaha Service Center, for example. But then once I started talking about the fact that service center was open, it started to get stupid busy again. Like, I had to hire somebody busy. And I was like, wow, this is weird. And then the thought occurred to me, oh my gosh, the whole time that I told people for 6 months on the radio that we were moving the Papillion Service Center, never once did I say, but it's still open right now. Never once. So then when I realized that, I started saying that. But it was like, oh my gosh. So now that I'm saying, hey, the Papillion Service Center is open, people are coming in. I'm wondering if these people have just been sitting on their computer problems for the whole time, waiting for, something to open so they could bring their computer in and get some help. So hopefully that wasn't the case. 866-496-8772. Those are the numbers to join us on the program. Ask a question, make a comment. We'll get you in the drawing for a $25 Schrock Innovations gift certificate. And more importantly, you don't have to listen to me ramble for the entire hour. A little bit is a good thing. An hour, not so hot. Oh, by the way, the last couple of weeks, we've had trouble doing the After Schrock. It's where on Facebook, after the show, we continue doing live after the radio program ends. And I have a theory this week, because it's weird. At the end of the show, the Facebook feed automatically just ends itself. Just boom, ends. Now, in radio, there are sub-audible tones that you can't hear on the radio, but they cue the computer systems to do things like, when the news kicks off at the top of the hour, that's a hard break. Boom, it comes in. You'll hear radio hosts say, "Oh, we have a hard break coming. We can't do anything about it." That means there's going to be a tone, and it's going to cut them off. And so there's a tone, right? I think there might be a tone, and I had no idea Facebook listened for this stuff. Maybe, I'm guessing they'd listen, because it's just stupid. At the end of the show, the last 2 weeks, the Facebook feed has ended right at the end of the program. So what I'm going to do this week is, while we're doing the closing music at the end of the show, I'm going to turn the volume on Facebook all the way down. So viewers on Facebook, don't freak out. I'm going to turn it all the way down. And then we're going to let it go past the top of the hour news into the news a little bit. I'm going to turn it back up. I'm going to see if the Facebook feed ends. And if it ends, then that's not the thing. But if it continues, then I know that's what's happening. And that's one more thing I have to remember to do every show. 866-496-8772. Rod, you're next up on the program. How can I help you today on Compute This?
Well, good morning.
Morning.
Nice to talk to you. I have a problem that I am just beyond solving on my level. When I cold boot my machine, this is a desktop.
Okay.
And most of the time, it will not connect to the internet. That being said, other times when I cold boot, it will connect, but I'd say 90% of the time it doesn't, 10% it does.
Okay.
Now, to solve this problem, a soft boot or a restart, no problem, gets it right connected, and I'm ready to go.
Well, that sure is interesting.
Yeah, very interesting. It's perplexing. I've tried a number of things, and I just don't even know where to look.
What year was your car made?
My car?
Yeah.
Which one?
Your oldest one.
10.
Okay. So modern cars they don't have this problem. But, you know, when I was a kid, one of my duties when it was cold outside, this is when I was, 14. So I'm not like, when I was 6 or anything, was it's cold outside. My job was to go outside and start the car for my parents so that it'd be warm when they got in, because they didn't have remote starters back then. But I remembered you had to turn that key and you had to pump the gas pedal. You really had to crank it. And then it had to warm up. If you tried to drive it before, it was warm, it would quit. So, sir, I think your computer needs to warm up. You're cold booting it, and it's cold. And then it's chugging along for a while, and it's not working. Then you're restarting it again, and then it's getting on the internet just fine. I think your computer needs to warm up.
But it's not consistent.
I'm just giving you a hard time. Your computer doesn't need to warm up.
Well, I understand that, because one thing I was going to say to you was the fact that at my age, my father would never dare let me warm up his car, because you do not. Well, I'm from Vermont, and when it's 20 below zero, he said you do not let it warm up, because the older cars, you didn't do it. It was terrible hard on them.
Oh, was it?
Yeah, you drive them at less than 25 miles an hour till they got warmed up, and then drive them, but never warm up a car. He was an engineer, so he knew what he was talking about.
All right, so to get to your problem here, quick question. Are you wired or wireless?
I am wired.
Okay, so you're on a wired connection, and that removes a lot of the rigmarole, because then you have distance, everything else. So on the wired connection, what's your operating system?
10.
Okay, again, that removes a lot of the things. So you're doing everything right. So there's a couple issues here that we're going to look at. Number one is sometimes there is software installed on the computer to manage the Ethernet port.
Okay.
Windows 10 does not require software. Like when you buy a wireless router, for example, and you put the disk in to set it up, it wants to install like the D-Link Experience or, whatever. You don't have to install that garbage. Your computer has all the software it needs built right in to connect to the internet without any third-party stuff. So the only thing it needs is a driver. So this is what I would do if I had this in the shop and I was trying to diagnose it. The problem is you're correct. It's not consistent. With that said, what happened when it won't connect to the internet? Does it just throw up a page that says can't connect, or down in the lower right corner, is there a symbol like the network symbol? Does it not show up, or does it have an X on it?
It's a network symbol that comes up and says you can't connect. And then obviously I have the updater, and it just comes up and says, we can't make we can't update right now.
Right. So then
the connection.
That network icon, does it have a red X or anything on it?
When it's yours, you mean?
No. When you have a wired connection to the internet, down in the right hand corner by your clock, there's a symbol for the network down there.
Right. It's with the white. It's got a white. I don't know, like a asterisk, and then just the wave type symbol, and it's black right now.
Okay.
I just booted it up.
Gotcha. All right, so stay on the line with me here. I think I have a lead on what might be going on. We've got to take our bottom of the hour break, Rod. Stay with us, though, and we'll pick this up here when we come back next on Compute This.
Schrock Innovations can't teleport technicians to you, but online help is only a click away with the Schrock Desk. Subscribe today and get unlimited help whenever you need it. External hard drives are handy. You can back up multiple computers to them or even use them to move lots of data from one computer to another. Computer users have been buying the same old external hard drives for years. While our computers have been getting faster, we still do backups that take hours or watch epic progress bars creep by to move files. Schrock wanted more for our customers, so our innovators created the fastest external hard drives on the planet. Schrock modular storage devices are up to 50% faster than Seagate or Western Digital externals and are modular in the truest sense of the word. We can create whatever size and speed of drive you need for all of your needs. And all modular storage devices come with a data restoration guarantee. If you use our drives for backing up and your computer's hard drive fails, we'll restore your backup to your repaired computer for free. Fast, simple, and flexible technology solutions from Schrock Innovations. It's what we do. Compute This Pro Tip 299. There are enough mothballed computers in U.S. homes to give one to every man, woman, and child in the country. Many of these computers find their way into landfills where they can leak cadmium, lithium, and other nasty chemicals into the groundwater. Schrock Innovations is very proud of the fact that we recycle more e-waste every year than we create. You can drop off any old or broken computer equipment to our service centers at any time, free of cost. We only charge $15 just for monitors because they are especially difficult to process. No appointment is required, and we accept all computer-related equipment like printers, keyboards, speakers, and accessories. Additionally, the rare earth elements in computers can be recycled right here in the U.S. to reduce our reliance on supplies from foreign countries. Take a moment, drop off your old computer equipment today, and Schrock will make sure it's properly recycled and put to good use right here in the U.S. This pro tip brought to you by Schrock Innovations Computer Company.
Fox News Radio, I'm Karen McHugh. A Russian plane with 71 passengers and crew on board has crashed. The jet belonging to Saratov Airlines was bound for the city of Orsk when it came down near Moscow.
It disappeared from radar screens just a few minutes into its flight from Domodedovo Airport, which is one of the city's three major international airports, just a few miles to the south of the city centre. It made it only about 20 miles before it was seen to be descending quite rapidly.
Phil Edwards of Sky News. It appears there were no survivors. Meanwhile, there was a deadly helicopter crash Saturday in the Grand Canyon.
The FAA and NTSB looking into what caused the deadly helicopter crash in the Grand Canyon Saturday. 3 people were killed and another 4 were treated for injuries at the scene. The Eurocopter EC-130 was heavily damaged. It belongs to aerial tour company Papillon.
Fox's Chris DeMeo. Fox News, we report, you decide.
Now, the News Radio 1110 KFAB Weather Watch.
Finally, we'll get a break from the clouds and snow. Today will be mostly sunny with a high temperature of 26 degrees. Mostly clear going into tonight, dropping down to 4 degrees, but increasing clouds for us tomorrow. Temperature is expected to be a touch cooler at 22 degrees. With Omaha's most accurate weather team, I'm 6 News meteorologist Peter Sherwood on News Radio 1110 KFAB.
Alrighty, guys, welcome back into Compute This. Thanks for sticking with us through that bottom of the hour break, and we're back here again. We're on the line with Rod. Rod has a problem with his computer where sometimes when he starts it up, it won't connect to the internet. Then if he restarts the computer, it connects to the internet. Now, Rod, before we went to break, you were describing what your network icon looked like in Windows 10 down there.
Right,
a wired connection looks like a computer screen with an Ethernet plug on the left side of it. If you're seeing wavy lines, that's a wireless connection.
All right, then I have wireless then.
Gotcha. Okay. So now that introduces a number of other potential issues. When you have an inconsistent wireless connection, 9 times out of 10, it's because you're on the edge of a signal. How far are you from the router?
How far?
Yeah.
4 feet.
Well, then why aren't you connected with a wire?
What's that?
Then you should be connected with a wire. That'll solve your whole problem.
That's what I'm saying. It is. That's what I'm saying. As far as I know, it's wired. It's wired.
All right,
it's hardwired.
We got to double check that, because if you're seeing a wavy icon down there, I mean, it's possible that you have both. It's possible that you're hardwired and you have a wireless antenna in the back of the computer, and it might be.
I do have both. There's no question about that.
Okay, so basically what we need to do is figure out which one is trying to connect. Now, if you have a wire, you can disable that wireless antenna. You can disable the whole wireless thing in your network properties. If you go into your control panels, you can disable that entirely. That's the first step that I would take, is disable the network adapter you're not using. That'll remove that from the equation. Then you'll only see the icon for your wired connection. Now, at that point, if you have a wired connection and you're getting an intermittent signal issue, I found that if you go after the complex things first, you end up wasting a lot of time. So
Exactly.
try the
You go to
simple
basics
things.
and right. You go to basics and go from there, because most of the time that's where it lies.
Exactly. So change your network cable. The network cables, if with an Ethernet cable, a lot of people don't realize this. If you have a network cable and it gets a 90-degree bend in the cable, that can render the cable inoperable. Inside the cable, if you ever cut one of those open, a lot of people, there's a big argument. I've had this argument with technicians before, that there is a specific order that those wires are in when they're wired into plugs. And inside the cable, you'll notice they're all twisted around each other. And the reason there's a specific order that the wires go in is that they are spaced to time the data arrival, so that all the information arrives at the same time at the plug. And if you get the wires out of order, or you get a bend in the cable, or you zip tie it down real tight and crimp it, that can actually change the speed at which the electricity moves through the wires. And I know it's stupid. It sounds insane, but it changes it just enough that that you can end up with a data loss, a packet loss, which will cause your internet connection to not work properly. And it will happen randomly. Sometimes the packets will get there in time, sometimes they won't. So start with the basics, change out that cable, disable that wireless adapter that you're not using. Get those two things done first, see if that solves the problem. If it does, great. If it doesn't, the next step then is to look at that wired adapter in the computer and look at the port on your router. Try a different port on the router. If that doesn't solve it, uninstall, reinstall the drivers for the network adapter. So it's basically a staged solution where we start with the simplest stuff and we move our way forward. A lot of customers will call us in the service center. Thank you for the call, Rod. I appreciate it. We did get you in the drawing as well for the $25 Schrock Innovations gift certificate. But we'll have customers call us in the service center that have network problems, and they want us to try to walk them through fixing their network on the phone. Now, things like what Rod had questions about, I mean, you saw how much we were able to accomplish in less than 5 minutes. I mean, we can answer a lot of questions. We can get people pointed in the right direction. But when it comes to actually setting up a network, you can't really do that over the phone. And you can't do it over the Schrock desk because, well, you're going to interrupt the internet connection, and that's how we connect. So for those situations, we have to send on-sites out. Now, Schrock Innovations does offer on-site service in home and in business. And that's not just to our corporate service members. So we have a corporate service agreement system that allows businesses to have on-call IT support from Schrock at a rate that is just ridiculously cheaper than what other companies charge. We're talking, it's like $175 per computer per year to have our corporate service agreement. Whereas other places you're going to be spending tons of money, annually, thousands and thousands of dollars annually. And you pay for an incident when you need it. It's $100 to have us come out for a corporate service incident, but it's a flat rate. So if we come out and we say, silly rabbit, and we flip the network switch under your desk or the surge protector switch and say, somebody kick that switch. Have you ever done that? You're using the computer and you kick that surge protector under the desk and everything turns off. You're like, son of a monkey's uncle. Well, if we come out and flip your switch, it's $100. But if we come out and have to reset up your network for you with two guys, it's $100. So the corporate service stuff is nice. Now, obviously, Ron was not a corporate service guy. He's in a business. He's a home user. We can send technicians out to your home. That we can sit down with a technician, probably have this whole thing sorted out in an hour or less at his home, and it's $135 an hour for us to come on site and work. It's billed to the full hour. So I always tell my customers, if we finish in like 45 minutes and you've got some chores, like some dishes or the yard mowed, you could have us finish that up for you because you got us for 15 more minutes before we leave. Wouldn't that be something? I told my guys at some point one of these wonderful listeners is going to hear me say that, and they're going to take me up on that offer. And you're going to look at them like, "Are you crazy?" And you're going to say, "Well, I got customers right." So if someone ever makes you start washing dishes or cutting their lawn, guys, you need to make sure they also take a picture of that, because that's going to totally make it into a commercial somewhere. Schrock Innovations, we're more than just computers. Would you like to dry or would you like to wash? 866-496-8772. Those are the numbers to join us on the program today. Ask a question, make a comment. We'll get you in the drawing, and that's what Scott has done. Scott, how can I help you today?
Good morning.
Good morning.
How are you?
I'm good. How are you?
Pretty good. I listen to you every weekend. So.
Well, thank you. I appreciate that, Scott.
Well, if I learn something every now and then from you.
I try. Most of the time, it's pretty mundane, but
Well, I didn't know that about the network cabling, if it was crimped like that.
Well, there we go.
Cool.
Happy day.
Hey, my question is kind of a two-part question. I bought a pretty large 4K monitor. It's an actual computer monitor, not a TV.
Okay.
I learned my lesson with that. There's a huge difference between the television and the computer monitor.
There is.
Yes, there is. And the picture's a lot better on the computer monitor. But anyways, I was looking at the price of video cards after I bought this monitor, and my God, a GTX 970 or a 980 has like tripled in price in the last few months.
Yes.
And then I read something about Bitcoin mining or something like that, which I know nothing about.
Yep.
And then upon reading that, in order to get 4K Ultra, you have to be running all this brand new Intel Kaby Lake processor or something.
Yes. The Ultra, for the Ultra. Now, you're not going to notice the Ultra versus just standard 4K. You're really not.
Okay.
So you can run 4K on a computer with any with any modern processor, anything in the last 3 years should run 4K. The graphics card is where it's going to get intense. Now, you're absolutely right. What's going on with the graphics card market right now? And it's funny that I told myself I wasn't going to talk about this on the radio because 99% of my listeners don't really care. But for the 1% and for Scott, who cares, right? This is how Bitcoin is impacting the life of Scott right now. So basically what's happening is you can't mine Bitcoin. Okay, what's mining? Mining is is earning cryptocurrency like Bitcoin by solving really complex math problems. And you're not sitting there with your slide rule, your computer's doing it. Well, the video cards actually are faster. The graphics cards have processors in them that are faster than the ones in your computer, which is why that graphics card is required to render that 4K video signal. Now, you can't mine Bitcoin because Bitcoin, a lot of technical stuff, it's too hard for a graphics card to do. But you can mine other stuff like Ethereum or Monero or Litecoin. There's lots of other different cryptocurrencies out there. So what guys are doing is they're buying up all the video cards they can get, and then they're putting them, into aluminum rigs, and they're getting them to all work together to make a supercomputer basically for earning money. And right now, as the prices of these cryptocurrencies went from, Bitcoin went from like $400 last year to $20,000. So, and all the other cryptocurrencies kind of follow Bitcoin. So they all went up like that. Ethereum went from like $30 to like $1,200. So if you mined 3 or 4 of these coins, all of a sudden you had $5,000 in your pocket. You're paying the rent. It's like, wow, look at that. So these guys, as this prices went up, they took that money and they bought more video cards. Now, even NVIDIA came out in their last earnings statement and said, cryptocurrency mining is here to stay. This is the new reality of graphics cards. We're way undercharging for our stuff because like you said, a graphics card, like what you were looking at, should be a $200-300 graphics card. Instead, it's a $700 to $900 graphics card. The graphics card, here's how upside down the graphics card market is right now. I put an ad up on Craigslist. I do crypto stuff as a hobby, right? It's like what I do. Like I find enjoyment in it, okay? So it's computery and it keeps me up to speed on things. And, as I'm getting older, it's important that I know what all the cool kids are doing, and they're doing crypto. So I have a few graphics cards. I can't even buy graphics. I have people who come in, and I had a guy come in and is like, hey, can you get me a graphics card? You get them by the truckload? I'm like, lucky if I can get one. Okay. So what I started doing was actually, when people buy stuff from Amazon, they send it back sometimes because it's broken or they're stupid or it wasn't what they didn't like it or whatever. So they send it back. Well, Amazon doesn't actually check the returns and put them back on the shelf and sell them. They just send them to a liquidation company that puts them in a lot and says, here's a lot of Amazon returns, bid on it. So I started buying some of these lots that have graphics cards in them. And lo and behold, some of the graphics cards are perfectly fine. There's nothing wrong with them. They're literally brand new. Some of them have a broken fan. So some guy stuck his thumb in the fan and broke a fan blade and thought, I'm just going to send this one back to Amazon and have them send me a new one. And Amazon did. And so here's it is. I go buy a $30 fan and replace the fan, and it's a perfectly fine graphics card. Of course, they're not new, so they're not selling for $900 to $1,200 like the new ones are, but they will sell for $600 to $900, depending on the card. And so I put an ad up on Craigslist like, hey, I've got enough cards now. I'm at my limit of I don't have any more room for cards, but I still have cards coming and I know people want them. So I'm like, hey, tell you what, guys, I enjoy refurbing these and buying these lots and bidding on it. It's kind of fun. So tell you what, I get these cards in. I want to build a text message list. If you're looking for graphics cards, shoot me an email. You can do this too, listening on the show today, Thor@SchrockInnovations.com. Just shoot me an email with your name and your cell phone number, and I'll add you to an SMS list, a text message list, that when I have a graphics card that comes in and I test them, I refurb them, I test them for 24 hours, and if they're good, there we go. This is not really a Schrock thing. This is like a Thor thing, but that's how upside down the graphics card market is right now. And it's not going to get any better. They're going to release new graphics cards in the fall. So right now what's happening is they want to make sure they've sold out of all their old inventory before they launch the new inventory. And so they're just going to sell it out. They're going to let it go it's going to get worse before it gets better. So bottom line is to process the video on that thing. Don't be afraid to look at open box cards. Don't be afraid to look at refurbished cards because a lot of them are refurbished from the manufacturer. They're just like new. For what you want to do, you're not going to be mining cryptocurrency. Watching a 4K video is not super intense. You're going to be just fine. But yeah, it's going to be a little more expensive. But yeah, the Ultra and the 4K, you're not going to notice a huge difference between the two.
Okay.
To the naked eye.
Well, that's cool then. Because this monitor I have is 10-bit color, and I mean I'm running a 970 right now, and it does 4K.
Yeah.
I just figured since I'm, updating my home theater, that's basically what this is. I would just update the graphics card too, and then I find all this out, and it's like, holy cow,
Yeah, well, yeah, absolutely, and that's part of the challenge too, is getting it all to work together. So the monitor will push it. Any video card will push a signal. It just might not push a 4K signal.
Right. Well, thanks for the advice.
Hey, no problem. This is what we do. All right, thank you for the call, Scott. All right, 866-496-8772. Those are the numbers on the program today to ask a question or make a comment. On Facebook, it sounds like Carolyn is asking for help. So real quick before we jump into our final break here, Carolyn asked, what does it mean when it says reboot and select proper boot device? Help, I am out of town. Okay, so basically that means your hard drive's not working, Carolyn, or it means there's another boot device plugged in, like a USB drive or a DVD or something like that, and it's trying to boot from that instead for some reason. So make sure nothing else weird is plugged in. Restart the computer again. This is one of the reasons why we tell our customers to make sure you have Drive Advisor installed on your computer. Drive Advisor is a completely free product. There is no cost whatsoever to Drive Advisor. You can get it free at driveadvisor.com. Yes, you have to give your email address when you install it. And the reason for that is it will email you if your hard drive starts to die. Most hard drives don't just up and die. Carolyn, sometimes they do, especially on laptops. And I think that's what you're working off of. Sometimes they do just up and die. Well, most of the time they don't. Most of the time they kind of fade away. And if your hard drive starts to kind of fade away, well, Drive Advisor pops up and sends you an email that says, hey, your computer's hard drive is dying and you should get it replaced as soon as possible to avoid data loss. Because by the time you get into Carolyn's situation, at that point, you're dealing with a physical repair. So Carolyn, in this point where you're at right now, if there's nothing else plugged into the computer, if you have everything, all the other, any USB devices or whatever unplugged, and the computer will not boot, that usually means, and I see you said here that you have Drive Advisor, that means that there was some kind of an event that happened that caused the hard drive to fail. That event could have been internal in the hard drive, a sudden event, or it could have been external, like a shock or a drop. A lot of people don't realize with mechanical hard drives especially, simply like pounding your fist on the table is enough if the hard drive is spinning to cause a hard drive to fail. So they're so sensitive. So basically, I know you're out of town right now. You were going to need to see it in the shop. You're pretty much down until you bring it back in. Here's the thing. I see customers suggesting to turn it off and reboot and things like that. You can try that. If you try it and you get booted up, pay real close attention to what Drive Advisor is saying, because if that hard drive has experienced a failure like that, it will drop its health rating and Drive Advisor will alert you. On the other hand, try it once, try it twice. If it doesn't work, do not try it anymore. Because the more you try, the worse it's going to get. And if we are in a data recovery situation, the worse it gets, the more expensive it gets. Data recoveries start at about $400. They can go up to $2,000. So we want to keep you out of that lab if we can. Just because the hard drive says no boot volume is accessible doesn't mean you have to go into data recovery. Sometimes it's just, hey, you got a bad sector all of a sudden right where Windows is and it can't boot. What the heck? We could hook it up to another computer and copy everything else off of it. So here's the thing, Carolyn. Unfortunately, we're going to need to see you in the service center to take a look at that one. And I know you're out of town right now. I know that's not super convenient. Unfortunately, that's kind of what we're up against right now because it's a physical problem with the hard drive, most likely. All right, 866-496-8772. Got to take a quick break. Jack, your call coming up next on Compute This.
If you can dream it, Schrock Interactive's website developers can make it happen. Refresh your website, automate sales and marketing, and grow your business today with Schrock Interactive. Schrock Innovations has spent nearly 2 decades working to make your technology life easier, and the all-new SchrockInnovations.com is no exception. Now you can order new modular computers and solid-state laptops directly from our website, secure your computer with our virus-free guaranteed semantic endpoint software, Find innovative new technologies like our modular storage devices and get free help and tips. Take a look at the special section to find sales on one-of-a-kind items, display models, refurbished units, and our latest special offers. Swing by the Compute This page to watch TV segments and archived radio shows, or even get one-on-one help through the Schrock Desk. As always, we respect your privacy, so we secure our website with the latest encryption technology and only the most secure payment methods. You can pick up your purchases at any of our 3 service centers or have them shipped directly to your door. The new SchrockInnovations.com makes technology simple. It's what we do. Compute This Pro Tip 843. Of all computer failures, the scariest and most expensive is the hard drive. But there are some steps you can take to save money and save your data before it's too late. Detecting failures early is important, so install a free utility like Drive Advisor from driveadvisor.com to monitor your hard drive's health and receive warnings when there's a problem. But most of all, hard drive failures happen slowly, so early detection is key to reducing the repair bill. Second, if your hard drive makes any unusual noises, immediately turn off your computer and do not turn it on again. These issues are physical problems, and the more you try to use it, the worse the damage becomes. Remember that most computer repair shops do not have the specialized equipment needed to recover data from a failed drive. Never open your drive or allow anyone else to do so. Open drives always cost more to recover. Schrock does not charge for data recovery evaluations and quotes, so let the local pros look at your drive before you make any recovery decisions. This pro tip brought to you by Schrock Innovations Computer Company.
Alrighty, guys, welcome back into Compute This. You remember the Equifax breach, security breach at Equifax? Well, here's the thing. The headline says it's way worse. There's tons of stuff like all these tax ID numbers, and that's a social security number. Well, you see, Equifax did release that social security numbers were included in the breach. The tax ID numbers are foreign nationals that don't have social security numbers. That's basically their electronic identification number so they can pay taxes to the federal government. It's the same thing, but for a non-citizen. That's the whole story. Now, here's the meat and potatoes. There are some people in Washington that are trying to make hay on this. Okay, here's the thing. The Equifax breach is, holy cow, a problem. If Equifax did not adhere to basic or standardized security practices, they deserve to be punished for this. You know, if they left the front door open and left everything in plain text and didn't encrypt anything and thought, I'm sure it'll be fine, then they're morons and they need to be shut down. But if they did everything right and there was some unknown vulnerability like Meltdown or Spectre that nobody knew about, that somebody walked in and stole all this stuff, I'm not sure you can hold them responsible for that. You know, if they did everything you could possibly do, how can you put yourself in their place? You're a business owner and you do everything you can do to lock something down and it gets stolen anyway. Should you just not have the information? Well, somebody's going to have the credit information, right? So Senator Elizabeth Warren and Senator Mark Warner, Democrats, introduced the Data Breach Prevention and Compensation Act, in which the senator said in comments will hold large credit reporting agencies accountable for data breaches involving consumer data. Agreed. Large agencies, credit reporting agencies, should be responsible for protecting consumer data. Here's the thing. The bill, if passed, would fine credit rating giants $100 for every customer who had one piece of personal data stolen, and $50 for each additional set of personal data that was compromised. Under the legislation, Equifax would have to pay billions in damages for the breach. Okay. You want Equifax to report that they got breached or not? Well, the law says they have to report it. Does the law say they have to report every piece of customer information that was taken? Does the law say, I mean, literally, we want them to cooperate, because if Equifax gets hit with something like this, we want them to be forthcoming immediately, because number one, consumers can protect themselves, and number two, other companies can see how did this happen, and they can protect their customer data, and we all get smarter. One sting and then inoculation, right? We don't want to get stung 100 times before we finally figure out, oh, that's how they're getting in, because nobody said anything about it. And finding Equifax billions of dollars, if they did everything right, I don't think that, what is that going to solve? What will that solve? If you're doing everything you can possibly do, now you're going to pay billions of dollars now. We're going to run you out of business because you did everything you could possibly do. I mean, I don't know that. You're not going to hear too many people arguing that, the credit companies, the credit reporting agencies are saints and, don't deserve anything. But in this case, it might be a little extreme. All right, let's jump into the phones. Last call of the show. Jack, welcome to the program. How can I help you today on Compute This?
Morning, Thor.
Morning.
You know what? I have an older Toshiba Vista operating system on it, and I gave it to the kids just for them to play music on and put pictures on. And finally, it says that the boot is corrupted. It won't open up. And I'm just trying to find out, is it worth it for me to take and bring it in and have you see if we can recover all the pictures and their stuff off of it? Or should I just throw it in the dumpster and tell the kids, sorry?
Yeah, that's life, kids. Learn about loss now. No.
Yeah.
No, the stuff, getting the stuff off of it's not hard. It's like an hour of labor. So basically, if you bring it in, we can take a look at the hard drive and try to get stuff off of it. I wouldn't repair it, though. I would give them another newer old piece of junk.
Yep, perfect. Well, you know what? I'll drop it off at the Lincoln shop.
All right, sounds good. We'll look forward to seeing you there, Jack. Thanks for the call today. All right, today's winner, Schrock Innovations gift certificate is Rod. Congratulations, Rod. First caller of the show wins it today, $25. Christine will get a hold of you to get that over to you here on Monday. Speaking of Monday, do not miss the Omaha Morning Blend. 9:15 will be going on the air to discuss, what shall we discuss? Tell you what, we'll talk about it in the Aftershock. I'm not sure what we're going to talk about yet, but, I'm sure we'll come up with. Sometimes I just show up and I'm like, what do you guys want to talk about, They love that. They love that. All right, so speaking of the Aftershock, remember, in about 15 seconds, I'm going to turn the volume all the way down on the Facebook feed, and we're going to see if it interrupts. And if it interrupts, sit tight. I'll be back with a new feed, and we'll come on and do our Aftershock, and we can talk about all kinds of Aftershocky things that no one else cares about. All right, guys. Thank you for coming into the service centers. We appreciate your business. Our families appreciate the opportunity to serve you, and we'll see you again here next Sunday for another edition of Compute This.